The show is starting.
I feel the liftoff. The clock has started. Roger.
Due to the unpredictable nature of the Ask Dr. Hal show, home edition, some material may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
The finest in underground television.
The winter evening settles down with smell of steaks in passageways, the burnt-out ends of smoky days. And now a gusty shower wraps the grimy scraps of withered leaves about your feet, and newspapers from vacant lots. The showers beat on broken blinds and chimney pots, and at the corner of the street, a lonely cab horse steams and stamps, and then the lighting of the lamps. The morning comes to consciousness of faint, stale smells of beer from the sawdust-trampled street, with all its muddy feet that press to early coffee stands. With the other masquerades that time resumes, one thinks of all the hands that are raising dingy shades in 1,000 furnished rooms. You tossed a blanket from the bed. You lay upon your back and waited. You dozed and watched the night revealing the 1,000 sordid images of which your soul was constituted. They flickered against the ceiling. And when all the world came back, and day crept up between the shutters, and you heard the sparrows in the gutters, you had such a vision of the street as the street hardly understands, sitting along the bed's edge where you curled the papers from your hair or clasped the yellow soles of feet in the palms of both soiled hands. His soul stretched tight across the skies that fade behind a city block, or trampled by insistent feet at 4 and 5 and 6 o'clock, and short, square fingers stuffing pipes and evening newspapers, and eyes assured of certain certainties, the conscience of a blackened street, impatient to assume the world. I am moved by fancies that are curled around these images and cling. The notion of some infinitely gentle, infinitely suffering thing. Wipe your hand across your mouth and laugh. The world revolves like ancient women gathering fuel in vacant lots. T.S. Eliot.
Move your head forward. Move your head back.
Here before you is an opportunity to plumb the depths of the mysteries that confound and intrigue us. A chance to ask the big questions. Dr. Hal is not concerned with questions of trivial matters or of facts that are easily gathered elsewhere. Dr. Hal seeks the questions that transcend fact. He stands before you, ready to take questions that used to be brought to wise and aged sages on distant mountaintops. These questions can now be asked from the comfort of your living room. No Sherpas required. Simply direct your favorite web browser to our new and simple-to-use website, AskDrHalShow.com, or click the Ask Dr. Hal button below our live Twitch broadcast. You will be spirited away to the magical Co-Fee portal, where all you need do is submit your burning question in the handy message field, and assign a monetary value you wish to place upon it. Our stage ghost will then convey your message live to Dr. Hal, and he will answer in the manner that only Dr. Hal can. Don't worry, we never sell, share, or solicit using your provided email address. PayPal will ensure that your valuable love offering goes directly to Dr. Hal. Links to submit questions and more can be found at our website, AskDrHalShow.com. Do not let this opportunity to consult a modern-day oracle, a seer for seers, a man steeped in the arts, sciences, and esoteric studies, pass you by. We present to you, through the very miracle of the internet itself, the one and only Dr. Hal Robins, now making house calls.
Greetings and salutations.
And everything
Hello.
works.
Welcome, audience. Thank you for joining us this evening.
I'm going to knock wood over here. I shouldn't announce everything works before I'm absolutely positive everything is, or does.
That does seem
You know.
to be tempting the imps to malicious activity.
Yeah,
At least an 85% degree of confidence in the
I,
working of...
I actually smudged today just to make sure that there was nothing lurking in the corners. You know.
Smart.
Nudge, do you say?
And this is it, right. I'm an avowed skeptic, so you know that's a skeptic smudging. So if that tells you anything
Well-
about the nature of the business,
At the very worst, you've just stunk up your house with something sweet smelling, so that's fine.
I wouldn't call it sweet smelling.
Some bitter perfume that you burned to assuage the evil spirit?
It was sage. I mean, you know, it was the usual.
That's appropriate.
The usual smudge. But I'm not a fan of the smell of burning sage. It's
Oh.
center up there a little, Dr. Hal, if you would. You're out of screen. There you go. We're back in the whatchamacallit, the
narrow,
slot
the
machine. The slot
Yeah.
machine.
Portrait rather than landscape.
Yes. Well, actually, it's a landscaped portrait. Is more like
We have the both
turned
best
sideways.
worlds.
It's me messing it up. I'll leave. It's okay.
No, goodness gracious. Well, see, we're gonna fix it here in a minute. It's just this screen is always a little tight. You have to pay attention to where your head is in the screen.
I try to pay attention to where my head is, but you can't always.
You know,
Yeah.
it's.
not
I
always
think we
apparent.
do a better job than most do, but
All right.
knowing where our heads are, and that's what I'm here for, to tell you your head's not where it needs to be, Dr. Hal.
All right.
That's what any good producer is here for.
That's my job. Jeez. We have a video question, sort of from last month, but it's not the question from last month. It's a new question. So I'll show that a little later. Either Professor Gofflin or I will show that video. Probably me, since I have the button for it.
Oh,
Probably.
doesn't
button's over
seem
here,
wrong
so-
at the beginning of the
Yeah.
queue, this video question.
Maybe we'll. Well, actually, Professor Gofflin, do you have any like background on this and where it's coming from and why?
It is a mysterious transmission from overseas, from the various travels of our friend Professor Griffin, who recently went, I believe, to Rome. So this is the
Eternal
background on this.
Cool place.
Yeah.
Cool place. We were there. St. Joyce. What was it? 2 years ago. It hasn't relayed over to her yet. She hasn't heard it on her side of the
She's on the
room.
delay. She's on the 7-second delay. Oh no.
I think it was like 2 years ago. We went to Italy and we went to the Vatican. Oh my God.
Oh goodness.
They've got all the cool stuff.
They did. They had a
They-
crazy
yeah.
person in the main square screaming at the top of his lungs. Oh, what?
Oh, that they call that the Pope. Pressure.
His Holiness.
He wasn't white enough to be the Pope.
Oh.
Sorry. I only tell it like it's true. So
He's an American.
he
at the moment.
is. He is,
Yes.
and sounds like a gentle soul, but you know, who am I to judge?
Well, you have an appropriate question to begin the question and answer period.
Well, you know what? We have we just talked about that question about from Reverend Griffin. Why don't
The
we
video
go ahead
question.
and play that first thing? What do you think?
All right, let's go to that video now.
All right.
Roll
Let me see.
that footage.
Here it comes.
Hello, Dr. Hal from outside the Pantheon in Rome. The Pantheon was built by the Asians to be a home to all of the gods, until the false prophets and followers of Jesus kicked us out of our rightful home. On the day of the rupture and X-Day in 1998, when we are finally rescued, who should we rededicate this temple to? And what monsters or demons should we fill it with?
So we're going to disenfranchise Jehovah and Son from the Pantheon. That might be appropriate since it is supposed to house all gods. And perhaps some resentment has been built up among the other divinities during the creation of the Christian period. For example, Dagon, that twice battered god of Palestine, that Jehovah broke into two pieces on two separate occasions. I'm sure there's some resentment there. But as a member of the Church of the Subgenius, I must emphatically assert that J.R. Bob Dobbs' smiling visage must provide over the temple, not as the supreme being, but as, let us say, the librarian who sorts everything out, who ordains what is appropriate and what should be tabled for the next session. There are many gods and have always been, established by other religions and occasionally born in the hearts of individuals. It is not generally known, for example, that Betty Page, the famous pin-up model, worshipped 7 gods. However, that's between Betty and them. Let's put Bob floating by holographic projection in the top of the Pantheon, where there is that spherical opening through which it is said no rain that comes through ever touches the floor, dispersed atmospherically by the geometric precision of the interior.
I'm going to go ahead and open up. Professor Gofflin, we'll bring you in just a couple minutes. But that was an interesting question and beautiful place that he was in.
Yes, the Pantheon. I always wanted to see it. Did you see it while you were in the Eternal City?
We did indeed. It was gorgeous.
How was it inside there?
Marvelous. Everything that we saw was just spectacular. The Vatican, though, was crowded and the artwork is a lot smaller than you think it's going to be. That's not a complaint, by the way. It is what it is, but it's surprising that it is as small as it is. You think it's going to be massive, and it's not. Kind of like the Mona Lisa, I understand, is much smaller than one imagines. But I have a question for you, Dr. Hal.
Give you that idea. Well, what is that question?
Let me see. This is a question. It's a $12 question from Dr. Billy. And it is, let me open it up here. The hand of Dobbs has compelled me to sponsor the next question. Oh, from anyone who has yet to submit one to the show tonight. Put your query in the chat and receive a personalized answer from the one and only Dr. Hal. Satisfaction guaranteed or triple Billy's money back.
In this particular case, yes. The church
not from us.
Eternal salvation or triple your money back. We are only an arm of the church and not certified to dispense funds at the present time. Well, what is the question?
Well, there is no question. And Professor Gofflin, I have to get used to using the chat again.
How about this? I will monitor the chat, and I will be the intercessor for Twitch chat.
Oh, my hero.
Momentarily.
Well,
so
perhaps we can get an interrogative dimension from what Billy wrote, and then, having framed it that way, provide an answer. Or should we just go on to the next question? What do you think?
Let's, there's always somebody out there. Billy put it out there as a donation. It's like leaving your quarter in that shopping cart when you're at Aldi's, for those of you who might understand that reference. So he's left a quarter in the shopping cart. So if anybody wants to, take advantage of pushing that cart around, please let Professor Gofflin know.
No quarter given and no quarter asked.
Yeah.
Well, let us proceed.
Takes a lot of shopping carts to buy a pack of cigarettes these days, I'm here to tell you. All right.
Those keep raising in price all the time.
All right, Professor Gofflin, I think, actually, we might be time for our first monster movie moment. What do you think?
Indeed. I think we might be. Let's go ahead and do that, and then perhaps we have an appropriate question afterwards.
Yes, let's let people think of questions. Audience, get those questions in. Come on. You can do it. Surely.
It's not necessary to think of an exceptionally witty question. You just ask something, and the entertainment value is what we have to extract from the question. So, in a sense, by just sending an ordinary question, you are giving us a challenge. Anyway, think about it while we view this interesting monster movie moment. The first of two, I believe.
And a little bit of, some sort of monetary compensation is
a small
always
emolument,
traditional
a premium
in this
for
case.
Our labor.
Hal works for tips, and depending on how much tip you get back depends on how much tip you put in.
Saucy.
Anyway, let's do our first monster movie moment, and folks, we'll see you back in a few minutes.
Anytime I get an opportunity to talk about Millicent Patrick, I kind of get a little excited, so thank you.
He actually had some parts in some films as an
This is true.
For the
Yeah, she had a whole sort of second career as an actress in a lot of TV westerns, as a matter of fact.
She liked to work.
Yeah.
And I guess you work in the town where you live in. So, if it's fast food, it's fast food. If it's Hollywood, it's Hollywood. It's,
That's sort of the industry here. That's what we got.
So, yeah. Anyhow, that's, I learned so much about the Creature from the Black Lagoon doing that bit this time around. I can't even begin to tell you. Especially about Millicent. She's awesome.
studying these movies just is of infinite depth, practically. More and more opens up. So it certainly pays an investigator's attention.
To throw one of those into an editor and go through them, in 1/30th of a second bites and see transformations and in-camera effects and all of that sort of thing. Oh my goodness, it's magical.
Interesting.
It really is.
Most of us, but not to the larger audience who would be impatient to go through a movie with such a slow hand.
But, well, it's funny. I wouldn't have thought that I would have enjoyed it either until I started doing it for this show, and I discovered it's an absolute joy. It's an amazing thing to go through some of those, like, at that microscopic detail. Fascinating stuff. So I recommend it. It's pretty relaxing too. Wrap up and go edit something.
A field of study that one experiences involuntarily.
1 out of 27 doctors recommends it. If you can find him, get him to write you a prescription. Anyhow. Well, Professor Gofflin, I think we're going to open on a question.
Indeed, yes. We do have a question. This is from our Twitch chat, as a matter of fact.
All right.
I'm finding all the buttons on the screen. I'm getting used to this again.
Very good. All right, Dr. Hal. So this is a question. This is paid forward by our generous benefactor, Dr. Billy. The question here is from Plain Balaclava. Oh, I love your name. How can we send Slack to our besieged cities?
Well, that is a significant and serious question, because this is not a slackful time where cities are being invaded, but rather a grave circumstance which threatens the charter of our particular type of government. A gravity, if you will, which tends to pull everyone down into the serious slog of resistance to tyranny. Well, if gravity is the problem, then its opposite, comedy, may offer the solution. And many are doing it with hilarious Trump puppets and other props. These cannot be attacked by the invading forces without making them look silly, and yet they do provide enlightenment and entertainment, rather than the angry shouts which, after all, these interventions are intended to provoke, so that more such repression may come. Waves of laughter are the most unopposable force of all. And so that's what I recommend. Draw the cartoons, make the puppets, put on the frog costumes, or what have you. And remember that you can achieve slack, but the uptight stormtroopers have none and cannot achieve any. Professor Gofflin, what was the amount of the emolument there with that last question?
Yes, indeed, that was a $12 question from Dr.
All right. Okay. $12, that's on the border, but let us do a recitation. In this case, from Dipsychus by Arthur Hugh Clough. There is no God, the wicked saith, and truly it's a blessing, for what he might have done with us, it's better only guessing. There is no God, the merchant thinks, or if there is, 'tis funny that he should take it ill in me to make a little money. There is no God, the schoolboy says, or truly, if there may be, he surely didn't mean a man always to be a baby. Whether there is, the rich man says, it matters very little, for I and mine, thank somebody, are not in want of victual. Some others, too, also themselves, who not so much as doubt it, think there is none when they are well, or do not think about it. But country folk who live beneath the shadow of the steeple, the parson and the parson's wife, and mostly married people, youths green and happy in first love, so grateful for illusion, and men caught out in what the world calls guilt in first confusion, and almost everyone, when age, disease, or sorrows strike him, incline to think there is a God, or something very like him.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Hal.
What have
Now,
we
we
got
will
next?
take a moment here. Oh, sorry. What we have next is I must entreat you, audience, please get those questions in. This is the Ask Dr. Hal show. We can only put this on with your generous help. So please get those questions in queue. The link is in the Twitch chat.
Oh, we have a very short
Let's
show.
Well, we should hope not. We like to put on a good length of show. Let's see. I have here a question. Let me get the amount here. One moment, please. Oh my goodness, this is a $35 question from our dear friend Mob Miati.
From Washington,
And
D.C.
indeed, and they would like to know, where would a guy have to go to score some Nepenthe around here?
That's in a way like asking about slack. How does one gain slack? The Nepenthe, of course, could simply be of that kind, a spiritual kind, rather than the juice of the lotus, or any of the other things which provide for the weary individual a succedaneum for the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. It could be something delicious, some form of nectar, but we deal in an intellectual realm here, and we like to think that slack comes from development, from opening rather than closing, from being born rather than dying, from development rather than the lack of same. And to develop is to change, and to change is to admit new things and go to new places. So that is always the answer which I give. Get involved with something exterior to the self. Looking inward is only an avenue of bleak thoughts, which is ultimately unsatisfactory. I hope this is not a bromide of an answer, but can provide appropriate help if this is a request for help. Here is a poem, perhaps an overly famous one, by Bert Leston Taylor, The Riddle of the Dinosaur. Behold the mighty dinosaur, famous in prehistoric lore, not only for his might and strength, but for his intellectual length. You will observe by these remains the creature had two sets of brains, one in his head, the usual place, the other at his spinal base. Thus he could reason a priori as well as a posteriori. No problem bothered him a bit, he made both head and tail of it. So wise he was, so wise and solemn, each thought filled just a spinal column. If one brain found the pressure strong, it passed a few ideas along. If something slipped the forward mind, 'twas rescued by the one behind. And if in error he was caught, he had a saving afterthought. As he thought twice before he spoke, he had no judgment to revoke, for he could think without congestion upon both sides of every question. O gaze upon this noble beast, defunct 10 million years at least. And that figure is considerably less than it could be.
Well, first off, I'm going to say you folks don't see behind the scenes, but it's like I'm out to get Professor Gofflin
What's going on back
tonight.
there?
Nothing happened. Nothing happened. You didn't see a thing. Nothing at all.
All right.
So I do things behind the scene, like, okay, I'm going to go on next and I'll ask this question, and then I bring her up instead. I'm not
That's
doing it
fine.
on purpose. It's like, oh well.
You know what? This is live theater. This is improv. This is what we're here for.
Well, but I wanted to say publicly, I'm not doing that to you on purpose. I'm just a dipshit. So, sub genius. So, I'll be better. I'll be better now, really. But we have a guest, and we
indeed.
We also do this show. It's called Ask Dr. Hal, Home Edition, which means you at home get to ask Dr. Hal. This is an opportunity, folks. Ordinarily, you would have either had to have gone to a subgenius devival, a X-Day drill.
Those are getting rare as hen's teeth.
Right. Or go to San Francisco and, maybe catch a live show of Hal doing this performance. But audience,
we hope to revive it. Or go to Tucson, Arizona, if we get one there, which we're thinking of doing.
Right. I do hear that there is some subgenius devival event coming up in May in Indiana.
That's not surprising.
So more on that as in the fullness of time, as it develops.
Indeed.
May is not as far off as it looks, even though we have an inch of ice on the ground.
No.
Anyway, so we're going to go to our guest and audience. Get those questions into Dr. Hal. That's what we're here for, and you only get this chance once a month. Most months, not every month.
As many months as we can provide.
Make that question this month. So anyway, here's our guest this month. Once I find the button. There it is. Buttons. Back.
Amazing. Another hit from the Dust Bowl Faeries.
Yes. Trenchant.
They are our people. I love them.
Really.
Really,
they are.
Having so much trouble with the upper echelons of the music industry.
I can only imagine how. I mean, the stuff that we go through just putting this little show on. I've had to become a backcountry attorney just to do some of the things that we do, and hope that I'm right. Hope that somebody's not sitting out there saying, "Oh, we got you."
Well, what have they got? We're small chump change.
You're edutainment.
Bother with us. Yes.
Well, we fly the edutainment banner and occasionally the satire banner. So we try. We count our P's and Q's. We try to do good, be good.
USA Tire Company.
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of P's and Q's, I wanted to return back to our conversation about in-person Subgenius events. We were mentioning Slackfest coming up. I just wanted to drop the dates and location of that. That will, of course, be Slackfest this May 7th through the 10th, 2026, at the beautiful Heartland Resort in Greenfield, Indiana. So get your info now from slackradio.org, and they will set you up.
Indeed.
Very good. And ideally, not just set you up to knock you down.
An
Not.
unsolicited pitch. All our pitches are unsolicited.
Yes, you'll get them whether you solicit them or not.
It seems like the kind of thing I would love to attend, but I think I'm not built for camping anymore.
I have to admit, I think the last 10 years I've gone camping, I've set up a tent, like a screen tent, party tent, and then I have a hotel in town that we, warm bath that I haven't shared with 50 other people.
You have a place to go on site, and also a place to withdraw to and reassemble your afflicted powers.
And usually like cook on a stove and sit on a toilet and everything.
All the comforts of
the water in the toilet. Imagine what that concept.
Yes, it took a long time to get here.
I mean, now if I want those Jankum fumes, I have to go out to the septic tank. But but inside,
as one does, yes.
Inside, I mean, it is X Day. We have to indulge in those X Day things. So, but Dr. Hal, I have a question for you. Actually, Professor Xenofact, our very good friend Professor Xenofact, has a question. And it's a $15 question, Dr. Hal. And which famous kaiju / giant monster, if shrunk down to the size of a Pomeranian, would make the best pet?
Well, you must cut out from the queue anything that shoots out radioactive flames. That creates a discipline problem. And also things that fly can not be easily trained. My sister's dogs have all been put through canine obedience school, but it would be hard to do that with something which can incinerate with a directed fire stream or fly above to descend from above. Personally, I think the beast from 20,000 Fathoms would be an ideal companion of the sort that you name. The original animation model was about that size, too. You could hold him on your lap. He doesn't breathe fire, and although he does have a toothy set of jaws, most creatures are not ordinarily vicious, and rather than not, tend to be shy. And let's say that the Redosaurus would be of that kind. Nor would he be likely to grow at an alarming rate as some kaijus do, like Pulgasari, who we showed a few shows back. All right, I vote for the Redosaurus from the beast from 20,000 Fathoms. And in fact, at Reloadio, one of the radio things I perform, on my desk is a large model of the Redosaurus that is just precisely that size. Perhaps that has something to do with my choice in the matter. Lucifer by Starlight by George Meredith. One starred night, Prince Lucifer arose, tired of his dark dominions, swung the fiend above the rolling ball in cloud part screened, where sinners hugged their spectre of repose. Poor prey for his hot fit of pride were those. Now on his westward wing he leans, now his huge bulk o'er Afric's sands careens, now the black planet-shadowed Arctic snows, soaring through wider zones that pricked his scars with memory of the old revolt from awe, he reached a middle height, and at the stars, which are the brain of heaven, he paused and sank. Around the ancient track spread, rank on rank, the army of unalterable law.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Hal. I have here a $20 question from our good friend Dr. Penny.
Oh, how nice.
And she asks, I have a pink brother who recently ended up in the federal clinker. Ooh. What can I do to send him some slack?
Well, I imagine he would have plenty of time to read Subgenius's Methods and propaganda. Start with sending pamphlet number 1, and then copies of the Book of the Subgenius are available. It is in print, and a copy of Revelation X, the Bob Apocryphon, I also strongly recommend. Then there is the Subgenius fiction anthology, Three-Fisted Tales of Bob. Many people use prison time to catch up on their reading. But of course, this stream of Subgenius propaganda must be ameliorated with other texts, with lighter forms of entertainment. Still, they find something you can always go to and browse in. And I hope this might help. It's a pity that anyone is incarcerated. It is the duty of a prisoner always to escape. One may have an elaborate plan to escape the stone walls and iron bars of confinement, or, more elusively, one may escape into the life of literature and the arts, even with what is permitted in durance vile. A Welsh Incident by Robert Graves. But that was nothing to the things that came out from the sea caves of Crickirth yonder. What were they? Mermaids? Dragons? Ghosts? Nothing at all of anything like that. What were they then? All sorts of queer things, things never seen, nor heard of, nor written about, very strange, un-Welsh, utterly peculiar things. Oh, solid enough they seemed to the touch, had anyone dared it. Marvellous creation, all shapes and sizes, and no sizes, all new, each one perfectly unlike his neighbour, though all came moving slowly out together. Describe just one of them. I am unable. What were their colours? Mostly nameless colours, colours you'd like to see, but one was puce, or perhaps more like crimson, though not purplish. Some had no colour. Tell me, had they legs? Not a leg nor a foot amongst them that I saw. But did these things come out in any order? What o'clock was it? Who else was present? How was the weather? I was coming to that. It was 3:30 on Easter Tuesday last. The sun was shining. The Harlech silver band played Mach Hog Yesse on 30 shimmering instruments, collecting for Carnarvon's Fever Hospital Fund. The populations of Portherley, Crickirth, Portmaddock, Porthrymaddock, Pembrin, Dindryth were all assembled. Crickirth's mayor addressed them first in good Welsh, and then in fluid English, twisting his fingers in his chain of office, welcoming the things. They came out on the sand, not keeping time to the band, moving slowly seaward at a snail's pace, till at last the most odd, unaccountable thing of all, which scarce one man there could see for wonder, did something. Recognizably, something. Well, what? It made a noise. A frightening noise? No. A musical noise? A sound of scuffling? No, but a very loud, respectable noise, like groaning to oneself in chapel just before the second psalm. What did the mayor do? I was coming to that.
think it was supposed to come. Yes, it was supposed to come to me. I'm
What was
bouncing
supposed
things back and forth over here, trying to. Okay, we've got this over here now. Blah, blah, blah.
multitasking there in the cockpit.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God, you're lucky I'm not flying a saucer right now. It would crash it into the ground.
They have all
Me spin our wheels here. Oh, well, now this is an interesting question.
That's good.
It is a $10 question. It is from our friend Professor CN and in brackets, miserable day.
Oh,
Well, he's in that neck of the woods right now. How can we in Minneapolis make ice go back to hell?
well, they don't answer to the citizenry, but only to their commanders, their right-wing Obergruppenführers. So how can you make them do anything? That is a tricky, iffy business. It is also difficult to ignore them, which some might advise, since they're right there pushing you around and arresting you and moving you to shadowy, unknown detention centers in other states. So what one must do is prepare for these exigencies, and as I said earlier, to go out in mass into the streets, but not to break property and throw rocks, simply to stand and observe what is going on, since so much of what they do is bluster and bullying, and they who dish it out always fear retaliation of any kind. Here's a short one by T.S. Sullivan. The best years of my life, said the lion, have been spent where trapezes are flying. My teeth are all false, and I know how to waltz. For a lion, that's most mortifying.
Greetings. We're back. Hal, that was great. Well, let's see. We have another monster movie coming up.
That's right. More
It's
monsters
that time.
than the last. And next show in February, we're going to have an incredibly special treat. But more about that later.
And this monster movie moment's in color.
That's right.
They're not always.
Remind me, when we reach the chat room, I have something to say about this series that this monster movie moment is from.
Remind
Oh,
me
I
too
can't
that
wait to
I
hear.
that I have to put out the message about the chat. So
All right.
everybody's going to get that here in a few minutes.
All right.
Indeed, audience, since I see a few new people here that we may not have interacted with before, just to let you know, it is customary. We have an after-show chat where you, dear audience, can hang out with us in the green room. So be on the lookout for that link after the show wraps up, and give us
A hot
about
link,
5-10 minutes, and we'll be in there with you.
No alternate, just a sausage party.
And you think we're charming now. You wait until we get some frop under our belts. And
That's
boy,
an idea.
boy, can we show you some stuff.
If you're not careful, I'll bring out my stop-motion filmography.
Ooh.
Oh, great. I volume I always have referred to, except now it's too low in a stack to be able to move.
Oh, that's the trick with that one. It's sort of a tome, you know. It's kind of
It's big. It's the one you want to put your little nephew on at Thanksgiving.
right. It's sort of it's a load-bearing book, you know.
It's a big one, as it should be.
Indeed.
I did want to mention something, though. I commented that this one is in color, and we do show black and white ones here. I've actually met people in the younger generation who will not watch black and white movies.
But we're not showing a movie, we're showing an excerpt. And even the
I
movies
know.
they purport to like often have black and white sequences. What do? March up the aisle and
I know.
in protest?
I don't know. I guess they just don't rent them or don't watch them or whatever. So that's one of the
Well,
reasons why we show them here, to show people that these things are good. They're
they are more to
wonderful
be pitied.
things. Oh my
Uh,
God. The stuff that went into that costume is breathtaking.
well, yes, it's a great costume if you're
Oh,
talking about the creature, because you
creature.
can swim in it. You can swim gracefully in it. And of
Indeed,
course,
yeah.
Riku Browning could hold his breath for a large amount of time, which was
Famously
necessary.
about 4 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, that is hard to do.
And not a wrinkle in that suit. I mean, just sleek and form fitting. Absolutely gorgeous. Anyway,
Hot to work in, though, I hear.
well, we have a monster movie moment coming up. And then we're going to come back. We've got a few more questions in the queue. Then we've got another couple of things that we're going to do. Then whatever questions are left in the queue, and that's what we got. So that's
So,
the
audience,
rest of the
now
show
is your
lineup. Questions,
opportunity.
questions. Get them
Please,
in.
always get those questions in.
Hmm.
Always room for Jello. We'll do it. Any question you put in, we will make sure it gets to the good doctor tonight. So, on that note, here's the second monster movie moment, and we'll see you all in a bit.
Intriguing, eh?
Indeed, I found it interesting that David Allen apparently didn't think that his stop motion was much of an improvement upon the suited actors.
Well, I think it's good.
I I think it's quite good.
He is an animator who makes creatures walk convincingly, and that's extremely difficult to do.
Indeed, yeah, and he was paired up with Randall Cook on this one as well, who's sort of very famous for kind of like very like dog-like, demon-like creatures that, sort of move their heads very swiftly. There's sort of a tell to when you see his animation. It's
If
kind
you
of interesting.
analyze animal motion, the forward movement of the leg is the fastest thing in the gait, and so often in a stop motion or a computer animation, you see the leg slowly swing forward. If it moved that slowly, the creature would fall on its face. The leg has to be under the creature for its next step. But Ray Harryhausen knew that, but not that many people who have done it since seem to follow that particular thing.
It's very interesting. Well, speaking of interest, Dr. Hal, are you ready for another question?
Time will tell. Ask
All
me and
right.
see if I can answer.
Very good. Well, let's see what we've got here. I have an $8 question from our good friend, Reverend Dr. Mr. Big John.
Mhm.
And he asks, let me bring up the full version of this. Excuse me, it's a long one. Ah, there we go. The question is, are our Yeti ancestors large or small? We seem to have evolved from hairy proto-humans, but they are all short. Where are the fossils of the really big Yetis from which we evolved?
Well, I have to refer you to a book, probably one now out of print, called Apes, Giants, and Man by Professor Hans Weidenrich. And he speaks of the Gigantopithecus, the huge semi-human ape-like creature which lived in the region of Tibet and also, some say, crossed the Pacific land bridge when the ice age had the water level in the ocean lower, and thus they entered the Pacific Northwest. Now, the remains of Gigantopithecus are known, although they are spotty, while his chief antagonist, Peking Man, has no remains of any kind available. That is because during the Second World War, all that fossil material was in a boxcar which was bombed or blasted during the Japanese invasion of Manchuria. Much was done against the science of paleontology, in the disastrous conflict of the Second World War, the only fossil material of Spinosaurus aegypticus, for example, was blasted into bits by Allied bombing while in the Berlin Museum. Such a shame, since it was so damn difficult to excavate that giant carnivorous dinosaur, larger than Tyrannosaurus, from the African Lagerstätte, where the temperatures ranged higher than 120 degrees. But as far as the Yeti, or let us say Gigantopithecus, is concerned, Weidenreich in his book says this creature is misnamed. It should not be called Gigantopithecus, or giant ape, but rather Giganthropus, giant man, because the teeth, according to his examination, come off like human teeth more than ape teeth. As for why the ancestral Yetis are depicted as large and not as human ancestors are generally thought to be smaller, large size really is a reflection of how much food is available. So one's growth to full size can be achieved and then surpassed. But it is also true that diet and dietary deficiencies can cause races of smaller, hunched-over, sallow-chested, bent-over people, I'm looking at you, ancient Egyptians, to replace the high and more than 6 foot high Cro-Magnon people with their erect stance. So there are all sorts of things that go into it, but let us remember we are apes, and so was Gigantopithecus, and our height has not yet been achieved. Future humans, if there are going to be any, will probably attain a far greater height than contemporary ones and retain neotenous features. Perhaps the future exemplar of the human race will look like a 15-foot-high baby, but I don't anticipate being there to see that development.
God, I hope I'm not either. Well, look, all I got to do is go to Walmart, man, and I'll see it anyway. So it's already here.
Or drink the juice of the black lotus and hibernate for a couple of centuries, and then when you come out, you'll have to deal with those 15-foot-high infants.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like fun, Dr. Hal, but I do have a
evolutionary development. The baby-like features are retained in the adult. This is called neoteny, but we're far from the answer to the question by this point.
I do have another one for you, though. This is a 12.
Well, let's have it. Maybe it'll be a fun.
Well, this is a $12 question, and it is from our friend OK Bob OK. Mm-hmm. And let me open it up here. Now I'm going to read this as written. It's a little on the cryptic side.
All right.
Recently, a writer suggested the chief headbanger DT has FTD, and not the say it with flowers kind. This was heard on Democracy Now! It seems most puny humans I am aware of do as well, like a plague of gish gallopers in collusion with manifest destiny. Am I losing it? Hi.
I wouldn't say you were losing it. I would say you were paying so closely attention to current events that it has managed to disturb you from your usual equanimity and philosopher's tranquil state. And this is the payment that you make for awareness of some things, although all knowledge is ultimately beneficial. So you're not losing it, but as far as DT, he may act as though he has the DTs sometime through mental lapses, and mainly because he has never managed to grow. Since he has never been contradicted in anything, he has not had to exercise his mental faculties. And when you don't exercise, well, they say use it or lose it. And that is why this particular pathetic and warped specimen is clearly losing it. I think it's getting harder and harder to deny that. A time of payment for one's sins is expected, and let us hope inevitable.
Very good. Dr. Hal, I have here a $30 question.
Oh, really?
From our good friend of the show, Dr. Wolfgang Amadeus Gotterdamerung.
Oh, I'm glad he's paying attention.
Indeed. And he asks, do you have a favorite poet for pure opportunities of bombast in the performative reading?
Sure, that would be, well, I enjoy John Milton, of course, but Clark Ashton Smith is a poet who goes all out since he doesn't expect anyone will read him very much and writes to satisfy himself. Smith lived in a tiny cabin in the area of Auburn, California, which he built himself with no running water or electricity. But when the time came to support his aged parents, he became a writer for pulp magazines and wrote his famous science fiction and horror stories. A correspondent with H.P. Lovecraft and Robert Howard, together they created the so-called Cthulhu mythos. Today, not a trace of Smith's stead remains, and the entire landscape has been reorganized by bulldozers, including the two boulders where, according to Smith, as he wrote The City of the Singing Flame, if you passed between them, you could be translated into another world far from here. In fact, the planet of the City of the Singing Flame itself. Unfortunately, that city was destroyed. It's too much to go into here. But Smith's wonderful poems are exquisitely written, and I think they're worth tracking down. So as far as bombast is concerned, that's what I would say. We get the name bombast from the name of the famous alchemist Paracelsus, who went by Theophrastus Bombastus von Hohenheim. His bombast, his rants about medicine and alchemy are famous and often quite eloquently expressed. But he would go on, and thus the word bombast. Let's see. This is by Yeats. When you are old and gray and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read. Tell of the soft look your eyes had once and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace and loved your beauty with love false or true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down before the glowing bars, murmur a very little how love fled, and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid his face amid a cloud of stars.
Beautiful, Dr. Hal.
Of course, it should have been murmur a little sadly how love fled, but it was mostly correct.
I was following along. I was going to correct you on that, but I'm glad you caught it.
Some other time. We'll get to the bottom of it. So what comes next?
Oh, my God. You tell me. You're Dr. Hal.
I'm supposed to be a seer for that also?
Well, I guess if I asked you that question, huh? That's kind of how it works, right?
Put it in the queue.
Yeah, put $3 on it, Pressure. Jesus Christ.
Well, that's all right. I was asking because I really didn't know.
Anyhow, ask not for whom
Oh,
the
that's
bell
a.
tolls.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
My goodness.
We have a couple more things coming up, and we have a big recitation that Dr. Howe has prepared for us.
Yes.
And then we're going to come back and we're going to see what questions we have left in the queue.
That's right.
Because they
Audience,
do
we're switching
trickle
this
in.
up a little bit.
All through
So
the
we're gonna.
show, land in the hopper. They come in.
That's right. So, audience, we've been watching you. Now, listen very carefully. Do return after this recitation. There will be more questions. I know this is a little bit different for those of you that are normally with us this month. So, but that's what we're doing today.
Bring them in,
So,
people.
audience, this is once again your opportunity to get those questions in the queue. We will get them answered this evening if they are received. So, we can't do this without your help. So, it is the Ask Dr. Hal show. So, get those asks in urgently.
And see, Dr. Howe is the container of answers, and he doesn't even know them until he has the question.
The container for the thing contained. I used to teach about that in the English class. Anyway, let's go forward and farther.
Onward and upward. Here we go. And folks, we'll be back in a few minutes.
Our next all-new Ask Dr. Hal Show Home Edition will happen February 15th, 2026. Magical incantations for summoning are optional, although a computer is usually sufficient.
The pains of sleep. Ere on my bed my limbs I lay, it hath not been my use to pray with moving lips or bended knees, but silently, by slow degrees, my spirits I to God compose. In humble trust mine eyelids close, with reverential resignation. No wish described, no thought expressed, only a sense of supplication, a sense o'er all my soul impressed that I am weak, but not unblessed, since in me, all around me, everywhere, eternal strength and wisdom are. But late last night I cried aloud, in anguish and in agony, upstarting from the fiendish crowd of shapes and thoughts that tortured me. A lurid light, a trampling throng, sense of intolerable wrong, and whom I scorned, those only strong. Thirst of revenge, the powerless will, still baffled and yet burning still, desire with loathing strangely mixed on wild or hateful objects fixed, fantastic passions, maddening brawl, and shame and terror over all. Deeds to be hid that were not hid, which all confused I could not know whether I suffered or I did, since all was guilt, remorse, and woe, my own or others, all the same, life-stifling fear, soul-stifling shame. The third night, when my own loud scream awaked me from the fiendish dream, o'ercome with sufferings strange and wild, I wept as I had been a child, and having thus, by tears, subdued mine anguish to a milder mood, such punishments, I said, were due to nature's deepliest stained with sin, for I, in tempesting anew the unfathomable hell within, the horror of those deeds to view, to loathe, and know, yet wish and do. Such griefs with such men well agree, but wherefore fall on me? To be beloved is all I need, and whom I love indeed. Coleridge.
Beautiful.
What do you think of those animated pieces that Reverend Stang did of Dr. Hal's artwork?
I love them. I think they're really cool looking. I mean, you can't go wrong with the source material for one, but
Well, the source material is on canvas or in pen and ink on paper and will not change. So any digital variant of it can only be an addendum to its original creation.
It's frightening and it's remarkable. I mean, I wonder if this is how Neanderthals felt when Homo sapiens emerged.
Possibly. They might have been happy.
I feel like we're dancing around the monolith at this point with our stone tools.
Well, it could be a great assistant to animators and to individual filmmakers.
Look, we are kind of, in some respects, we are pushed into using it for the show. It does make some things easier, and we're a small, we're a small studio.
There's
So,
still plenty for us to do, even using.
oh, that's very true.
Yeah.
oh well, the
Plenty
learning
of human
curve.
labor goes in. Yeah.
Yeah, the learning curve on things is still very steep, and it still takes technical people to figure this stuff out. So we're not out of a job yet.
Someday it'll just be robots talking to robots,
Sure.
entertaining robots.
But by then, we'll figure out how to synthesize food out of thin air, and we'll be living in that Star Trek world where we don't need money anymore, and we just go off and do whatever pursuit it is that our soul.
Well,
points
from
us
your
in.
lips to Bob's ear. Oof.
Isn't that a world of slack? You just pursue what you love. And nobody bothers you.
Well, even the Star Trek world has dystopian elements in its future. So, according to the latest Star Trek shows, there was something called the Burn, which destroyed the Federation and the empire created by earlier Star Trek shows, if you follow it. My brother was a great follower of it. Let's see.
Well, yeah, Dr. Howe, though, if you think about it, in that world, if you're doing something and you suck at it, you just go to a planet where nobody knows you and you just try it again. And you just go from planet to planet to planet until you find some place where you don't suck anymore.
Each time violating the Prime Directive. But
As one does.
the empire, though, supposedly weakened in the future after that, and its connections became less strong. At any rate, we're not here to talk about that particular sub-creation, and we do have our own to advance also.
What are we here to talk? Oh, yeah, right. It's the Ask Dr. Howe show.
Well,
Audience,
that's
get
right,
those
it
questions
is.
in. We still have
I'll
room.
tell
We
you,
still have
audience,
time.
this is last call, audience. Last call. We will shake the jar. That's right.
Anything in there? Any questions in the hopper?
Matter of fact, a few just came in the hopper right
Get
now.
out of town, really?
Go ahead.
Let me
Help
do that
with
again.
them. Let's have them.
Why, yes, we have 2 questions in the hopper. So, Professor Gofflin, I'm going to go ahead and take that first one, and then we'll spin the wheels again, but we'll be right back to you. We'll see you in a minute. All right, Dr. Hal, I have a question here from J Random. And let me open it up here. It is a $30 question, Dr. Hal.
Oh, very good.
And if you were to somehow perfectly split my brain in half, killing either half, which side would I wind up on? Schrodinger's hemisphere.
Well, the brain is already split into 2 hemispheres, but there are cross connectors. In the past, medical history has shown that there can be great damage to some parts of the brain, and yet the rest will still function, although the personality of the sufferer in such instances will be radically changed, and the emotional register of that person. Still, there are backup systems and backups on the backups, and new usage creates new neural pathways, new axons and dendrites. As for the left side or the right side, that may have something to do with whether you are left or right oriented, whether you are sinister or dexter handed, although this is, of course, a result of the cerebral organization. Better not to damage the brain anyway, which is a delicate thing with a consistency like tissue. It needs its protective bony vault to keep it from being unnecessarily jostled and damaged. But as for choosing for you which half to return, I would need to know how your own emotional self and artistic self was organized and had been by you. Then from you I would have to have which things were of signal importance and which you think could be used merely when stripped out to tackle the basic exigencies of life. That is the challenge, and any choice that I make in the matter would be a random guess, since I am nowhere near as close to the problem as you. I will also say that what you think is you is only a small piece of that thinking machinery, perhaps located in the anterior frontal gyrus of the brain, the point of consciousness, the point that one thinks of as one's self. But in fact, the entire brain is a brain, constantly thinks, and is on your side, trying to help you. It has the answers that you are seeking, but you must silence the chatter of the point of consciousness in order to receive these answers. Then they will float up and be accessible to you as soon as you change the subject, that subject being yourself. The Darkling Thrush by Thomas Hardy, if I can remember that one. I leant upon a coppice gate when frost was spectre grey, and winter's dregs made desolate the weakening eye of day. The tangled vine stems split the sky like strings of broken lyres, and all mankind that haunted nigh had sought their household fires. The land's sharp features seemed to be the century's corpse outlent, his crypt the cloudy canopy, the wind his death lament. The ancient pulse of germ and birth seemed shrunken, hard, and dry, and every spirit upon earth seemed fervorless as I. At once a voice arose among the bleak twigs overhead, of a full-throated evensong in joy illimited, an aged thrush, frail, gaunt, and small, with blast-beruffled plume, had chosen there to fling his soul upon the gathering gloom. So little cause for caroling if such ecstatic sound was written on terrestrial things, afar or near around, that I could think there trembled through his happy midnight air some blessed hope, of which he knew and I was unaware. I seem to hear a chime, a ringing bell. Does
I'm
that
not sure where that's coming from.
portend anything of significance?
No, I don't believe it does.
Well, how about those other questions? Are there any more?
Indeed, the questions continue to roll in. Thank you, audience. Once again, last call for questions. But here comes a $20 question from our friend, Reverend Dear Friend. And Reverend Dear Friend asks, Albert Camus, when describing the absurdist philosophy, wrote that the result is the confrontation between human need and the unreasonable silence of the world. What do you think, and doesn't this explain the Church of the Subgenius?
Well, I wouldn't say it explained it if we take this to mean that the Church of the Subgenius, in frustration with the unfeeling resistance, with the blank face of the universe, then in turn creates fantasy castles and structures to entertain, if not to delay the onset of the inevitable. The Church of the Subgenius does have a philosophy, and its precepts may be stated, and they can even be put together and used, and some of its prophecies, at least in my case, have come true. So once you have a great body of written lore, and most of the Subgenius is literary in that regard, and in that mass of material, there are gemstones which may be selected from the dross by the discerning reader. And I hope that such an activity will provide pleasure and even in its own way enlightenment, and the universe will be less stony-faced and impervious to the struggles which we as human beings always have. This is from Yeats. I went out to the hazel wood because a fire was in my head, and cut and peeled a hazel wand, and hooked a berry to a thread, and when white moths were on the wing and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in the stream and caught a little golden trout. When I had laid it on the floor, I went to blow the fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossom in her hair, who called me by my name and ran and faded through the lightning air. Though I am old, with journeyings through hilly lands and hollow lands, I shall find out where she has gone, and kiss her lips and take her hands, and walk through long and dappled grass, and pluck till time and times are done the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Hal. Well, it seems that we have spun the wheels a final time, and we do have one last offering here. We've got one from a $10 offering from Reverend Major Tinnitus. I sympathize. And they say, no question, sorry, just a thank you for all the slack.
Oh, well, that's good. I appreciate it.
We will never turn down $10.
No.
Hell, we won't turn down $1. We're very generous that way.
Didn't Twitch also like the show and send us something? I understand.
Well, yeah,
Indeed,
Twitch.
Yes.
Yeah, so
well, they sell ads on the platform, and so we're it's a scratch each other's back sort of situation. So.
But their back gets scratched a whole lot more better than ours does. I assure you.
It does tend to, but yeah, that's
well,
the house wins.
Willing to take our place in the great chain of being, such as it is.
Indeed. Pontius Pressure, shall I give the wheels one more spin?
Oh, of course. Yes, that's tradition. Spin them all.
All right. No, it appears that was the last question.
Well, you can join us, folks, in the chat room, and we can discuss various things, solve the fate of the world, and hang out together. And I invite everyone who is following us to do just that.
Indeed, the link is in the Twitch chat.
Yep, drop the link in the Twitch chat.
Oh, yeah, well, I like to watch the credits.
And let me drop it over here in your guys' chat.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's very necessary. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And audience, yes, please join us for the after show chat, and join us again next month for even more wonderful things, the likes of which you have never seen. So
yes, we're going to have something extremely special next week.
Yes.
We'll show you things
treat.
that you've never seen.
Yes.
Take you places you've never been.
I'd say next week. I meant next month. It's
next month. Next month
on the 15th of February.
Yes,
that is
after Valentine's.
I'm going to mention what I was getting ready to say there is a very notoriously sinister line from Ghost Story. It's probably one of the. It's a really mediocre movie that's got like these really good points to it.
And scary ghosts also.
Alice Krige is brilliant in it. And lovely, a gorgeous Alice Krige.
For a dead woman, yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's a very lively dead person. But she has this line in the movie that's often repeated around here. I'll take you places you've never been and show you things you've never seen and watch the blood flow out of you.
Yeah.
Oh, not since Fasten Your Seatbelts has there been such a greatly delivered line. Anyway.
Oh, well, okay.
Well, folks, you know what? Superstition. Let's roll those wheels one more time. But where am I? Let me go over to my Ko-fi screen and roll that beautiful bean footage. No, that was indeed the last question. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to roll the credits. We thank you for coming out tonight. It was a good show. Nothing blew up. That's remarkable. I had a checklist and still forgot things.
But not that it showed.
Bob be with you.
Take care, audience. We'll see you again next month.
Take care, y'all.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.